let the swing begin. Mark Orwoll is at it again, and that cat is swinging. Yeah, that cat is swinging. The party don't stop when Mark's in the spin.
Hi, I'm Mark Orwoll. I guess we have another Substack column for you. I'll be right back. Take a look at this. One of the beauties of living in the New York metro area is the opportunity to explore things like nature, culinary arts, history, and recent murder sites. Just kidding. I would never explore culinary arts. So why didn't somebody tell me about Paterson, New Jersey sooner? Specifically, the Great Falls, formerly called Paterson Great Falls National Historical Park. Not long ago, I got a wild hair up my hairline to visit Paterson and the Falls. It's a poor town. So poor it could only afford one T in its name. I know the feeling. I used to be Mark ORWOL until I hit a gold mine in professional journalism. Paterson is, shall we say, rough around the edges. And there are only edges. My interest in visiting was sparked by my famous friend, J. Michael Straczynski, screenwriter, author, and renowned comic scribbler who grew up in Paterson. As part of the research for his harrowing autobiography, Becoming Superman, Joe and I went thither and yon throughout his old stamping grounds. Mostly thither, but with a hint of yon. After our tour, he went back to Hollywood to earn millions. He's a big shot. He calls Angelina Jolie Angie and Clint Eastwood Clint since writing the screenplay of their film Changeling. I was intrigued enough by what we'd seen in Joe's embattled birthplace to visit again. Paterson will never make it into New Jersey Monthly's 100 places you must visit before you die, although it might qualify for the cover of its annual 100 places where you're likely to die issue. But I'm in pretty good health, and I can run really fast when I'm being chased, so I thought I'd risk it. Going into travel writer mode for a moment. One of the largest waterfalls in the Northeast, the site of a grand vision by one of America's founding fathers, lies less than 20 miles from Times Square. But you'd be hard-pressed to find many people who have even heard of it, let alone visited. The Great Falls of the Passaic River drops 77 feet down a steep basalt cliff and is accompanied by numerous photogenic cascades. The sheer force of the falls is apparent to any bystander, just as it was to Alexander Hamilton when he visited the site in 1778. Yes, that Hamilton, the singin, dancin, soon-to-be shot dead important historical figure. He came to New Jersey just to see the Great Falls. The next time he came to Jersey, in 1804, he stopped in Weehawken at dawn, where he was felled by a .56 caliber bullet fired by Aaron Burr. New Jersey is like that. When he was named Secretary of the Treasury, A.H., as I like to call him, selected the Great Falls to become the energy source for a national manufactory to be built there. He envisioned that mill-like manufacturers would produce cloth, rope, iron, and more for the nascent nation. He even commissioned Pierre Charles L'Enfant, the future architect behind the layout of Washington, D.C. 13 years later, to design the canals or raceways that would power the mills. Imagine, George Washington, why should I commission you to design our future great and very outstanding capital city, which I will name after myself? Pierre-Charles L'Enfant. Well, I once designed the canals or raceways of a manufactory. Washington. I don't know what a manufactory is, but okay, you're hired. In 1791, Hamilton created the quasi-governmental agency called, and I am not making this up, the Society for Establishing Useful Manufactures, which in turn established the city of Paterson. While the emergency country was still on an austerity alphabet budget, they only gave it one T. Thus, America's first planned industrial town, the forerunner of the Industrial Revolution, was born. Paterson, unfortunately, hasn't weathered the years as well as the Falls. It's an impoverished city with a high crime rate and little to recommend it. That alone is probably why relatively few people visit. But the renewed interest in Hamilton, thanks to the eponymical Broadway musical, plus the transfer of the site from state control to the National Park Service, along with enhanced funding for statues, historical plaques, the visitor center, and porta potties, has helped the Great Falls public image. The Jim Jarmusch film Paterson from 2016, as well as several episodes of TV's The Sopranos, were partly filmed there. It may still be a blip on the radar, but at least it's on the radar. A record 177,000 tourists visited in 2016, the most recent National Park Service figures available. Your tax dollars at work. Still, 177,000 visitors sounds great, until you realize that nearby New York City gets more than 60 million visitors a year. And even the nearby Morristown National Historical Park, famous for outdoor activities in all seasons, according to Google, receives well over 200,000 annual visitors. Today, the Great Falls, despite its status as a National Natural Landmark, a National Historic Landmark, and a National Historical Park, is largely forgotten, masked by surrounding speedy highways and rundown buildings. Going into travel writer mode again. Yet the dark river spills grandly into the waters below. The foam still churns, and the roar still fills one's ears. You can still visit many of the area's 19th century structures and their now obsolete raceways. And if you squint to avoid seeing the earmarks of civilization nearby, you can even imagine what it must have looked like to the young Alexander Hamilton when America was new and even a waterfall inspired visions of grandeur. Just be leery if someone invites you to Weehawken at dawn. I'm Mark Orwoll. I'm at it again. I'll see you next time.